Welcome to our webinar, Finishing Touches. We are excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Christine Self, and joining me are Connie Watson and Morgan Chavez Brannon. We all work for Parent and Family Relations. You may have even met one of us this summer during Red Raider orientation. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. We hope this webinar will help you put the finishing touches on getting your Red Raider prepared for their first semester here at Texas Tech. We plan to keep this webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we'll open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature. In the meantime, feel free to type your questions throughout the presentation, and we'll work to get those answered. We are recording this session and posting it to our website along with the slides so that you can review it later or share it with others. We'll also email the recording link to the email you used when you registered for the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so as you can see, we're covering a lot in this short time together. Keep in mind that we are sharing some general reminders about topics like tuition payment, financial aid, and housing. But if you have specific questions about those topics, you may need to reach out directly to those departments. We will be sharing links and contact information along the way. So first of all, we hope that you are connecting with our department. Again, we are your support team on campus. We are a great place to reach out to if you have general questions and you don't know exactly where to reach out to. We always say that if we don't know the answer, we'll get you connected to the person who does. I also like to say, ask us instead of Facebook groups. Facebook groups are a great way to get parents' perspectives on particular things. But if you want to know about current Texas Tech policies, procedures, and official information from the university, your best bet is to reach out to us. So we hope that you will do that. We have our contact information on the screen for you. So please feel free to reach out to us. We are open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. If you leave us a voicemail or send us an email, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We also are here to help you support your student from a distance. And so some of the things that we talk to families about when they call us with concerns about their student is, encouraging that active listening to your student. When they reach out to you with an issue or problem, you might want to ask them some questions like, how do you think you should handle that? Or, who have you talked to on campus about that issue? So just thinking through how you support your student a little bit differently after move-in is going to happen. And a lot of times we do hear from families who are concerned about their students not making immediate friends and connections. So just remember that it does take time for students to adjust to their new home and make those connections with other students, faculty, and staff. But know that we're always here to help you kind of talk through some of those issues. So now I want to share some information that we hear a lot about this time of year. We know that tuition and bills are due soon. I'll talk about that on the next slide. But a lot of questions coming into our office right now about financial aid and when is that going to hit my student's account. If your student's receiving financial aid, such as loans or grants or scholarships, know that these will apply to students' accounts to pay tuition 10 days before classes start. Those will begin to start paying on August 14th. And this is not simply an arbitrary date. This is due to federal and state regulations. So just know that those payments that you're expecting to come through loans, grants, scholarships, those will start to post to student accounts on the 14th. Just note that any outstanding financial aid paperwork must have been completed by your student. All holds must be removed, and the student must be enrolled for the number of credit hours that their financial aid is set to cover. In the meantime, your student can see their financial aid and scholarship awards in RaiderLink. And if you have questions about this, please contact Student Financial Aid. I've got their phone number up on the screen for you, as well as their email address. You can also see them at the OneStop event when your student moves in, and we're going to learn more about that event coming up. All right, so we talked about financial aid and scholarships, some tuition billing reminders. Just know that your student's tuition needs to be paid or they need to be enrolled in a payment plan by August 19th. So about 5 days after that financial aid and scholarships apply is when that first payment is due. On your screen, you can see instructions on how your student can set you up as an authorized user so that you can view or pay the bill or enroll in that payment plan yourself. Okay. So for students to do this, they need to log into RadarLink, go to My Tech, and then Student Business Services under a heading called Manage My Finances. Then they'll click e-bill and authorized users. So what they'll need from you to set you up is your email address. Once they add you, you'll get an email to set your account up yourself and create a password and everything. And then you'll be able to log in and view and pay that bill. All right. So if you have questions about tuition, Student Business Services is the department on campus to reach out to. Their phone number is on the screen as well as their email, and they'll also be at the OneStop event when your student moves in if you need to visit with them. All right, another thing that families ask a lot about right around move-in is meal plans. And what do those look like for your students? So just a reminder that the last day to make a change to your student's meal plan is the 20th class day of the semester. And this year, that date is going to be September 21st. So check in with your student in the first few weeks after move-in and see how their meal plan's going. That way, if they're not eating a lot, you might want to back off on that meal plan, change it to a smaller one. If they're using a lot of their dining bucks, then you might want to add to a larger meal plan. Do know that dining bucks can be added to your student's account at any time. We always recommend that students take advantage of the Fresh Plate All You Care to Eat facility. That facility is going to be the most cost effective for those dining bucks. Some of the ones maybe in the student union, like Chick-fil-A, are probably going to be the least cost effective. So talk to your student about making the most of their meal plan. Hospitality's website is very useful for information about food options on campus. So encourage your student if they're asking you about, oh, I don't know where to eat, or I'm in my residence hall and there's not a lot of options right here. Like, where should I go? Tell them to go to this website. They can review the dining options all over campus. They are also really great about posting their hours. So your student can know exactly when they can go to these different places that are maybe near where their classes are. They can even go and drill down into nutritional information for what options they have. And this is also where they can manage their dining bucks and keep track of what they're spending. So if you have questions about dining bucks and how they work, I recommend that you reach out to Hospitality Services. Go to that website, their contact information is there, and you can see that information. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Morgan, who's going to talk about Raider Welcome.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan Chavez Brannon. Raider Welcome is one of the most fun things for students to do once they arrive at Texas Tech. Starting on August 20th and going through August 30th, there will be a variety of free, open to all student events that your kid can join and explore campus. They can learn about resources. There's normally a place to get, a free meal almost every single day. One that I always like to shout out is the dollar steak night. They take $1 and they get steak and potatoes and a bag of chips and a soda, I think. So there's great events for them to attend throughout that time. And this is a really great opportunity to explore campus, to get to know other people, to meet new people, to find just different ways around campus that fit them. There are really big events like Night at the Student Union Building, and then smaller scale events for individual student organizations. So encourage them to check that website to view all of the different events that they can attend. There's a way for them to see all of the Writer Welcome events online and just start picking and choosing ways to get lost on campus and get found on campus and have fun in that first week or so of classes. Um, a shameless plug for our office. One of our Raider Welcome events is back to school pictures. So if you would like a picture of your kid on their first day of class here at Texas Tech, encourage them to come to that. That is on the first day of classes on August 24th. And we'll have these really cute chalkboard signs for them to take a picture. And they will get that picture right away so that they can text it to you on the first day of classes so that you can celebrate with them. Another part of starting off the semester strong, aside from attending all these fun events, there are going to be some other events early on in the semester that are a little bit more taking care of business. So Student Legal Services will be hosting their annual Medical Power of Attorney workshop. So if this is something that you know you are interested in having on file for your kid, encourage them to attend this. This will be going on daily, September 8th through 10th. It will be over at the Student Union building in the atrium, which is just outside of the bookstore. And so they'll be able to go there. They will, all they need to do is show up. And Student Legal Services will have all of the documentation that they need. They will have all the paperwork. You do not need to be present to participate in this. It's just your student. And there will be HIPAA waivers and advanced directives that will also be available. So be sure to encourage your student to attend that. And there's no appointment needed for this event at all. One thing Student Legal Services does want to highlight is that they are no longer able to notarize outside medical power of attorney documents. So if you have an exterior one that your child already has, then they need to speak to Student Legal Services about what they need to do to make sure that that's on record here. And with that in mind, well-being is so important for all of our Red Raiders. So as you're talking to your kid as they are navigating their first few weeks of class, it's really easy to get caught up in all of the excitement and, we're staying up late, we're pulling all-nighters, we're going to our first football games, and we're listening to the victory bells ring out and all of these things. Remind them to pause and take a break, get rest, whatever rest looks like for them. It might not necessarily be just sleeping. It may just be, okay, you don't need to go to every activity on campus. You can pause, you can take a break, prioritize going to class, and then breathe, relax. Make sure you're eating healthy food. I know Christine already mentioned several of the resources through hospitality services. So there's a lot of options for them across campus to do that. Take advantage of the rec center. Not only do they have, the physical activity, the workout side of things, they have yoga, they have the lazy river that I know will close down about mid-semester, but they have that to take advantage of and rest and relax there, as well as within their Fitwell Center, your student can go and book a massage if they need it. So there's a lot of ways for them to just decompress, remind them that they have access to student health services right here on campus. If they're starting to feel, sick, they're living in a residence hall with new people and there's all kinds of people in there, or they might be in an off-campus apartment, whatever that looks like, they still have access to see a physician right here on campus. So encourage them to save that phone number in their phone so that they can call and set up an appointment. They've got access to the Student Counseling Center. Risk intervention and safety education is another great resource for them if they're trying to learn how to manage their stress and they're just trying to figure out, what does wellness look like for me? They've got a lot of great resources there. We have Tech Thrive, which is a lot more all-encompassing. They highlight all of the different resources that are available for holistic well-being here on campus. And if they are ever in a crisis, we do have the Texas Tech Crisis Helpline, which is available to all students 365 days a year, 24/7. So encourage them to save that phone number as well. Now we're going to talk about academics, so I'm going to kick it over to Connie.
Well, hello everyone. I hope you've had a great summer. We're ready to get started here in class here in a few weeks. August 24th will be here before you know it. So here's a few things to help your student. Making sure that they remember to check their course syllabi. That's where they're going to really find all the information they need with regard to deadlines, their assignments, when their exams are, when finals are going to be held, and things like that. So they'll want to make sure that they are spending some time with that syllabus getting organized. And they can do that to help them keep organized through using a planner or their phone or a calendar or a whiteboard. Going ahead and doing that early so they can see it ahead of time rather than opening up and saying, oh yeah, we've got a test next week. Maybe I should have been studying for that 2 weeks, started studying for that 2 weeks ago. For those that might have online courses, one of the suggestions that we have is that they set aside time during the week, during their regular course week, to also engage in that course. For instance, if they're taking political science, setting aside maybe 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock, I'm going to walk over to the library. I'm going to find a quiet place and I'm going to engage in that course just like I would for a face-to-face course. It's really, really important that they stay engaged. And on top of that, it's easy to kind of forget about that one if they're not having to actually go to a physical place. So setting that up on their own shows a lot of ownership for their academics and also a lot of um, um, maturity as far as making sure that they're getting all of their stuff done. Another thing that we want to remind them is to make sure that they're using their student success specialists and their advisors. One of the things during orientation is they may have met with their advisor in a building that where their advisor's office isn't housed. So not only in this next slide are we going to talk about this, not only are they going to want to find where their courses are, where their classes are, they're also going to want to find where that advisor's office is and where that student success specialist is. And if there is a success center with tutoring or other support, that's also a good thing to be cognizant of and aware of. Some of the academic resources that we talked about this summer included the Learning Center, the Undergraduate Writing Center. If your student is using accommodations, the Student Disability Center services where they are held. And then, of course, university coaching can help your student start setting some goals for themselves for maybe the semester, for the year, and even for their 4 years to graduation. A lot of students will visit with university coaching, set those goals, and then just do a check-in each semester to make sure that they're staying on top of things and that the goals are still relevant to their success. If you'll go to the next one slide, we'll go into navigating Raiderland. The main thing, guys, the main thing, and we probably heard this a gazillion times, is go to class. Just go to class. Children, please go to class. We want you there. We want to see you there. You're going to learn. You're going to make friends. You're going to get involved. So making sure that your student knows it's important to go to class. How many times have I said that? At least 6? Okay, I was shooting for 7, so we'll maybe one more time when I finish. But again, after they have reviewed all their syllabus, they know where their classes are, encourage your student to walk their schedule. Once they've moved in, take some time to go to their classes. And I suggest instead of going to, oh, I've got 3 classes in Holden Hall, but they're on different days of the week. They need to walk the schedule for each day. So if they have a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday schedule, they're going to want to walk that schedule just like it is. And the same thing with a Tuesday, Thursday. That way they know that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's a further distance, and that 7 minutes that it only takes me on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it might take me 10 or 12. So I need to be aware of that. If they're planning on going back to the dorm, walk to their class, walk back to the dorm, walk to the next one, so they kind of get a feel for how much time that's actually going to take. Another thing I would suggest is when they're walking their schedule, to go ahead and walk where their professors' offices are. They should have a syllabi or know where those offices are in the first week. They could do that the first couple of days to make sure where that's at, making sure they know where the advisors are, where the tutoring center is, how far it is from the student union to the writing center, how far it is from their dorm to the library, all those possible places that they may be going, that they're paying attention to that and making sure they know how much time that's going to take. Then on the first couple of days of class, navigating Raiderland is something where we have resources for folks that will be in each of the buildings to help your student find their classes. Not only finding buildings when they're walking their schedule, tell them to go ahead and go in the building and find that class. The other thing is to make sure they're reading their email during that week before and the week of. Classes may change locations, and they're going to be emailed to that student so they know that there might be a change. Just getting familiar with the buildings. In some buildings, they may think the basement is the first floor, but it's actually the basement. But then the first floor is the second floor, but no, it's the first floor. So making sure they understand how the building is numbered and how the classrooms are numbered. On the left side of the building, that might be all the odd numbers. On the right side building, might be all the even numbers. So getting familiar with their space and how to navigate within the building, where the elevators are, where the stairwells are, which one's going to get them quickest in the building, which one's going to get them quickest out the building. But overall, we've got folks here in all these buildings ready to help your student find their way. Even though they may have walked it, that first day jitters, and they've stopped by and gotten their picture taken, and they're rushing to class, and oh no, I can't remember where that building is, or I don't know which floor I'm on. That happens, and we're there to help. So make sure that they're connecting to them. Those services are going to be available for your student between 8 and 3 on the first 2 days of class. And beyond that, there will also be folks that they can ask. Always ask an upperclassman where something is. Somebody's ready to help.
Awesome. All right. Well, we also get lots of questions this time of year about move-in and housing reminders. And so, once again, if you have some real specific questions about housing, do reach out to them. But here's some things that we always share this time of year. So for last minute move-in information, review the what to bring and what not to bring list on the Tech-In page. That Tech-In page is very, very helpful to you. It will explain how the move-in time slots work. It'll tell you exactly how long that you have to park your car during your time slot before you need to unload your vehicle and then move it further away in the parking lot for the next time slot, folks. So it'll have all that information for you directly on that page. So I recommend taking some time and checking that page and reviewing it and being familiar with it. And of course, that's for our students who are going to be living on campus. Also, once your student moves in, if you're living again on campus in one of the residence halls, encourage your student, if there's any sort of repair request that they have, to go ahead and submit a fix-it request form. It's located right on the housing website. Your student would then click current residence and then fix-it maintenance request. It's my understanding they may even have QR codes in the residence hall rooms themselves that they can use to get to that place to submit their request. So encourage your student to do that. Students living off campus should work with their apartment complexes when repair needs arise, and certainly for move-in details for that particular apartment complex as well. Families often ask us about mailing packages. So if your student's going to be living in a residence hall on campus, the housing website has a handy mailing address generator that you can use to send your students mail and packages. I'll show you some more details about how to use that on the next slide. But it's really simple, and it will let you know how to mail your student either a letter through the post office or a package through FedEx or UPS. So for those whose students are going to be living off campus, just be sure and get your students' complete mailing address, including their apartment number, during move-in or soon after. That way you'll be able to mail them packages and letters as well. All right, so here is what the mailing address generator looks like. You can go, I think the link has been shared in the chat, but you can get to it by going to housing's website, click current residence, and then hall addresses and mailing information under the My Housing heading. And once you're there, a little window opens up where you can enter your student's name, You will need to know what residence hall they live in as well as their room number. Bed space refers to, many of the rooms say A, B, or C, depending. You'll get that information from your student. And then you can select whether or not you're sending this package via the postal office or FedEx or UPS or another delivery service such as that. So that'll help you figure out exactly how to format your student's mailing address. We found that has been a very helpful thing for our families. All right, now we're going to talk about some upcoming events. Morgan's going to talk about OneStop.
All right. So as we are getting closer to the semester starting, we know that there are some final questions that you may have. We've already covered some of these topics, but during move-in and the first few days of class, there will be professionals available to speak to students during OneStop. This is going to be at the Student Union Building. If you are here with your student, you can attend this with them. If they are getting questions answered after the first day of class and you're not here, that's okay. They can still go and talk to these folks. Student Business Services, Student Financial Aid and Scholarships, transportation and parking, student ID office, those will all be present at these. The hours are going to vary based off of the day. So just keep an eye out for that. We are adding all of these to the Red Ryder Family Network so that you can see the individual days and the times. So you can kind of plan that out for yourself. I will say, as a side note, Student Business Services and Student Financial Aid and Scholarships will be at our events during move-in that are specifically for parents and family members. And I will actually take this opportunity to pass it along to Connie because she's going to talk about those events for y'all.
All right, so you're going to move your child in. Maybe you're going to be around on August 21st and 22nd. And if so, we want you to join us over at the International Cultural Center. There's free parking, yay. We'll be there from 11 to 2 for you to have an opportunity to kind of just reset, rethink, refresh, whatever. It could be in between Target runs or Walmart runs or the dollar store or whatever you might be having to go back and forth with. But we want you to realize that we're there to help support you. We'll have a couple of resources, as Morgan's already mentioned, that will be there for those last minute questions. But the main thing is that you have time to talk to other families to kind of reset before jumping back into the fray, if you will. Or if you're just on your way out of town and you think, I need one more touch, I need one more hug, I need one more support and encouragement before leaving my child here on campus. But we'll be there from 11 to 2 on those 2 days, August 21st and the 22nd, 11 to 2. We hope that you'll come over and see us. We just want to give you it's going to be okay. Remember that? It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. So that's all I got for that. Oh, yes, you can register on the Red Ryder Family Network. So we kind of get a count for who all we're going to see that day. So do that.
Wonderful. And then we, of course, have Family Weekend coming up. This will be September 25th through 27th. We've put the website in the chat for you. It's also on the QR code on your screen. There is a football game, Texas Tech versus Sam Houston. I do have to let you know those tickets are sold out. They sold out in June this year. However, you can still get tickets for that football game on SeatGeek. We also encourage families if this date doesn't work out, either because the football's sold out or you just need to come on another date, there's other football games you can still buy single tickets to, or come on a non-football weekend. Actually, hotel rooms will be cheaper on away game weekends. You can get together with your student and watch the game on TV, or do other things during that time with your student. And even if you do come during family weekend and you don't go to the football game, there's lots of other things to do. Many of them are free of charge. You don't have to even register for them. Some things you will register for, but they still don't cost anything. And then some of the events are ticketed. You can go to the Family Weekend webpage and see all the events that are currently scheduled and know that we're adding more events to it as we lead up to Family Weekend. Many of the colleges and other folks on campus will start adding events in the weeks now that orientation season has ended and classes are about to start. So do check that schedule frequently. There's chances are some different things will be added every week leading up to the event. So we hope to see you during family weekend. All right, I know that was a lot of information. Again, we tried to focus on the things that we typically get questions from families around this time of year as we are moving in. We are over our time. However, you can still type questions in the Q&A. And I did have a question that was asked earlier that I wanted to share with the whole group and answer for everyone. And it is, can you talk about how Thanksgiving weekend usually goes? Do most of the students leave campus? Do they stay? Do you have any events? And so classes are scheduled for Thanksgiving through Tuesday of that week. Now, your student may start classes on August 24th, first day of classes. They may find that in their syllabus for one or more of their classes, that faculty member is not holding class that day, but that's going to vary that's up to the faculty. So students should plan on being in class through Tuesday of the week of Thanksgiving. Students do not have to vacate their residence halls during Thanksgiving. Many students do go home for that holiday, but it's certainly possible to stay on campus. You asked about events, and we do have a football game versus TCU on Thanksgiving Day here in Lubbock, Texas. So your student may be interested in staying for that game. So that's just something that you'll need to talk about with your student. Another question that's popped up several times on here is, can we send you a copy of the recording link and slide deck? Absolutely. We are going to send you the link to all that. The link has been put in the chat. We'll have this video posted there later, as well as the slides. So look for that email to come to you this afternoon once we get everything processed and ready to go. One more question we'll do out loud, and then we will end our webinar, is about winter break. Winter break is different. Students will need to move out during winter break. However, they don't have to move all their items out of the residence hall if they're going to be living in them the next semester. So we do recommend that students remove valuables. And they're, in fact, on the Tech-In site that we shared earlier is instructions for tech out. And so they'll need to follow those instructions before moving out for winter break. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. You do see a QR code on your screen for a survey link. We'd love to hear how we did. That link has also been put in the chat. Again, with all the links that we've talked about and all the resources we've talked about during our webinar today, your follow-up email later will have all these links in it. So you'll be able to access this information and reach out specifically to some of those departments that you may have some more specific questions of that we're unable to answer for you. But again, thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day. We do hope that your students' first semester at Texas Tech is excellent. And if you ever need any help or have any concerns or questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.